Man, just rudely interrupted you, boy. But you know, it's all good.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And if you are watching right now, welcome back to Down with the Get Down. It's your boy, Romel.
And your boy Derek.
Appreciate y'all sliding on through for another nice video while he is committing homicide. If you guys have happened to stumble across our nice little YouTube channel of Down with the Get Down, we are currently playing Grand Theft Auto 5. It's a nice little chill. Get some missions, get your money up, not your funny up. You feel me? I didn't even know I was gonna throw that one in there, but I did it. You feel me? I had to follow through.
Had to follow through from last episode.
Had to follow through from the last one. But guys, we got a little topic for a discussion. Something that's been all the rage all over social media recently. May have died down, but I know it was definitely all over my Twitter feed. I don't know the lady's name, but you guys may have seen her, the white lady who was just blasting the dear old sacred Nword around like hot tamales.
Oh no, stay in the car. Yeah, she was talking about how all of her friends are dealing with broke niggas.
Specifically broke ass.
Yes, specifically. And apparently, because she's a white woman, that put everybody in an uproar.
Yes. Apparently, it went even more with her stuff because she didn't apologize and kind of stood 10 toes down on the statements. Like, did she? Like, you didn't hear her the first time.
That video was hilarious. she was like, yeah, so it's come to my attention that, like, you know, people are upset. Dang, that's crazy. I don't care.
And then, like, when, like, the whole scheme of the thing was for her to get to conservative TikTok.
It wasn't that wasn't her point of doing it. It just kind of resulted in that because they were the only people that wanted to talk, that were willing to like talk to her.
I thought the clip I saw made it seem like she was proud of being over there. Like, oh, yep, that's where I wanted to be.
I mean, like she is a conservative and stuff like that, but like she just strongly believes in like freedom of speech. So like that's why she doesn't care if people get upset.
Yeah, and then she ended up losing her job too, something like that.
Yeah, and everybody was so happy because she lost her job. I think that it was really stupid, but
Which part?
So the whole thing, right, is like people are upset, so they blasted her until she lost her job. And now people are like, man, it's a win. She lost her job. But now she's making even more money than what she was making when she had her job. So, like, you didn't accomplish anything. She's making more money now than she was before.
So you made a win for losing because now was she getting brand deals or something? Couldn't get brand deals off of that. I don't know who
it's not like a brand deal, but it's like some of the people that she's with, like she's just getting money off of that and doing videos and stuff like that. So like she's making money, she's making profit off of doing videos on TikTok and I think maybe YouTube, I don't know exactly, and then like, you know, going on other people's platforms and getting money that way.
It happens.
And it was just like, y'all really did this for like no reason. She's making more money now. You didn't accomplish anything.
No, as far as I get where you're coming from. As far as the situation, I think we think differently on that part. I think that the outrage was deserved, of course, because to me, the people gonna be upset with that word regardless. And then when you hopping on the internet, it's the same thing like how we discussed a little bit with the dude who we were like, damn, we didn't want him to lose his job for doing that. But in situations like this, when it gets a little racial, then I mean, if you're gonna openly show a little racism, even if you weren't racist, it's gonna come off like that, then it's gonna affect your job regardless. I could care less if you lose your job in a situation like that because that's just stupid. Point blank period on that situation. What you just doing that is blatantly dumb. But when and people calling your job, obviously they're gonna call your job because you're doing that. Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, everybody gonna call your job if you're gonna do something that dumb. But and then her getting more jobs, like yeah, I mean yeah, it's going people love hate, people love controversial individuals. They're gonna put them on the map. They're gonna give them money. Same thing with some of these artists that we see nowadays. That's just the inevitable. But it just hope that long, and I guess for me being from a positive, optimistic side of like hopefully that this is something that becomes more of a learning lesson, and some of those people that she is around may not be the people she needs to be around. Or maybe, and if that's not the case and she just wins, then everybody just ignore the situation. It is what it is. Honestly, because it's like, because like the more out, because you already got the outrage, you got what you wanted as far as getting her fired. Cool. She wants to be on the platform. Now you know if she has a platform to be viewed on, don't just don't watch that. And if that's too hard for you, then you're gonna constantly put money in her pocket. But it's no use stressing about it once you've already done the one thing, which was get her blacklisted from her job. Cool. You can't get a blacklisted from the other people that are also conservatives. So if she gets money in her pocket from them, cool. If they just use her, then let them use her.
Yeah, I mean, like, in my opinion, I don't care that she said what she said. It doesn't mean anything to me. Like, it is what it is. Um, it's stupid to get upset over it. It's also like, if you're gonna say what you say on the internet, the same with I guess his name is Aaron. I'm gonna say his name is Aaron. The Ninja Turtle guy. If you say what you say on the internet, like obviously you should know that certain things that you say do have consequences to that, regardless of if it's wrong to say or not. People's reactions to the things that you say is the reason as to why certain actions happen. So even though I don't care that she said it, other people do, and because they do, then that resulted in her getting fired. I will say, just like in Aaron's situation, her being doxxed is not warranted because that's illegal. And also, apparently, there's like a group of like black people that are actively trying to find her in her city. I think that's weird too. So like, don't do that. Even
Oh
if
yeah,
like
yeah.
apparently they say that like they're not going to be violent towards her. Um, that's cool and all, but at the same time, even doing it, one is stupid and weird, and secondly, if a group of people try to like verbally attack her and she like pops one of y'all, then all of a sudden you're gonna cry and say that like she's in the wrong when you shouldn't never have been doing that.
You know, it's a lot. You know, I don't. Is it bad that it doesn't bother me that people do that? Like it doesn't. I like it. It kind of. I'm kind of okay with it. Well,
Okay.
I'm actually really okay with the fact that people wanted to do that. Like if that I can't. It's like the same thing when I have like a if I have you got a white we got a white homie kicking our white homie, and if you say do certain things around me, and like we chilling, we cool, and it's not, I'm telling you like yeah, this necessarily doesn't bother me because I know what I am, I know what I'm not, but I can't control what other people do. If other people decide to harm you, I'm not gonna stand up for you if you do something that's deemed as racist. I may know that you're not racist, but if you choose to do something knowing that the majority has a issue with it, but you want to be the one person who wants to be like freedom of speech, I can do what I want. If you want to be a jackass, you might not technically be a jackass, but that's technically you being a jackass in that moment because you know how things are in a situation. So, and and I'm not gonna protect you in that situation because it's like the same thing. If I'm around I'm around a bunch of my black homies. Sometimes, okay, cool. And word might fly a little bit more. I feel more comfortable doing it. I'm around a bunch of my white homies. I'm not doing that as much off the strength that I mentally don't want to put you in a position for you to say that a lot around me. And then we actually be around in the situation. We cool. I bring you around people. You get too comfortable. Now you getting your ass whooped. And I can't do nothing about it. Now I'm like, well, shit. I don't ever want to put you in that position. And I think that if people want to stand on that and say they want to be like, okay, who, cool, where's this girl at? Where's so and so and so? If people have gotten to that point of being that fed up and they got the balls to do something like that and actually stand on it, Why should we sit here and be like, well, that's dumb? They should have been on that. At this point, we always tell to say that people we full of talk. Our people are full of stuff. We don't back up anything that we say. We get upset about certain things. If the majority starts to be zero tolerance, it's basically like how Magneto is with the X-Men. It's basically at a certain point, it's like I'm not mad at it. Do I consult? Do I want violence? Absolutely not. Don't want violence. I want things to be peaceful. But when people move around like you can just like you're untouchable, and then the moment you get touched, that's a reality check.
I guess. I think that people wanting to track somebody down because they said a word is low IQ, but I
I
mean,
mean, you
you're
say
cool
it's a
with that.
word, but then that's also it could be looked at as low IQ from the opposite end. Like the end that we've had this conversation plenty of times where we like, okay, it's a word, it's a word, it's a word, but it's still a strong word. Like the same thing as calling your girl out of her name or her calling you out of your name. It's not
Then we
just a
shouldn't
word
use
to
it.
you in that moment.
Then
Yeah,
we
like you
shouldn't use
should.
it.
You
Because
say we.
like the thing is, like I I get
That's
so
too. But
sick
you
and
being too
tired
black.
of
You
people.
too black and white with it. You
No,
gotta have a little
I'm not.
nuance.
I'm I'm giving you the exact thing. If we make the words popular and so
Yeah.
people say it, with every other thing that is considered a quote unquote slur, you don't hear other minorities or other people call themselves that because they understand that they shouldn't. So why would we continue to do something and then when somebody else says it because we say it to ourselves, now all of a sudden it's back to being a slur again? That's stupid. If everybody's going to say the word, then everybody's going to say the word. If everybody's going
What
to get offended
minorities
over the
don't?
word,
Other minorities do use words of the saying the same thing to each other that other people can't use.
no, they
And
don't.
yes, they do.
What
You
is
never heard
one? What is a?
Hispanic people literally say I can't say the words, and then sometimes I don't even understand what they're saying, but they call each other those things that like you clearly say can't say that. Asian
That's
people
that's not
make the same
that's not
joke with each
this.
other.
I'm not talking about that. That's not necessarily slurs to them. That's something that they call themselves in that community, but it's not a slur. Like there's a list of slurs that people say that you can't say about people. Like for instance, like you wouldn't hear a Asian person say the C word to other Asian people, like Chinese people, not Asians in general. Like Chinese people call other Chinese people like that C word.
Yes,
Do you know what I'm talking about? That Asian people
yes.
don't call themselves that. So like I keep saying Asian. Chinese people don't call other Chinese people that because they understand that's wrong. Even if they say like if they were saying it to each other a lot,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden you're hanging around like a whole bunch of Chinese people, and you hear Chinese people say it all the time, and you're like, "Hey, what's up, my C word?" And they're like, "Nah, you can't say that because you're not Chinese. You're black. This racist." And you're like, "Oh, okay." It's the same thing. Like there are words that like some people like in
I
certain
just realized I've
communities they
been running
say
in
to
a
each other,
circle
but they're
because I've
not
been
like
waiting on you.
you could have came inside. But there are
Okay.
certain words that like other race. I'm outside now.
But yeah.
I don't know if you're about to walk inside or not, but
No,
I
I
am
literally
outside.
been hitting laps around the building this entire time because I've been locked into the conversation.
Oh, that's a Is that a random German Shepherd? Are you getting in the car?
Yeah, I had to. I was finishing
Oh,
my
okay.
lap.
Oh, okay. You're trying to get your steps in.
Yeah.
But anyways, like there's not like they have slurs that obviously like I'm not gonna hit that dog. Jeez. There are not really like slurs that like they call themselves that like they get mad when other people say it. The only times that you ever really hear that is like gangs. Like gangs will do that, but not like normal people in those communities do that. Like gangs are weird because they just disrespect each other for like no reason. It's really weird. I don't know why they do this, but like gangs do that. primarily, but like
That's
other
a whole
people
deep that's a whole
and
like deeper
normal, we're not
mentality
getting into
weird
that.
thing. Yeah, it's
We're
like
not getting into that.
a
But
whole
like
thing that I'm
other
like that's dumb too.
but other people in their normal speech when they talk to each other, even because like even if you have instances where it might happen, it's not the majority of that member of people, because the majority of people don't agree with that. The overwhelming majority of black people, sometimes you hear it and they're just cool with it, and it's not even like
Mm-hmm.
because like there and then the fact of it being stupid to me is the fact that we have a clear metric of how it's different, because we all know if it's an R at the end of that, you're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to say it. But if we put an A on there, then and it's an A on there, and we say it within the context of what we're saying it in, obviously everybody understands that we let it fly, right? So like that's the other issue that I have with it, and I think that at the end of the day, like if we're gonna be upset about it, then just nobody should say it in general, and just get rid of it out of our vernacular.
I think
Because
it's just
then
yeah.
if everybody agrees to just not say it, then we can really just tell people they can't say it, because at that point nobody's saying it. You run into the issue where when you use it so much and you popularize it and you put it in music and you put it in everything that people listen to, then they're going to say the things that you say. It's like when Kendrick was being corny and he brought that girl up there for one of his songs, and then got mad at her because she said the N-word, because that's a part of the song,
I
right?
mean,
Like
I feel like that's a
it's
lot
weird.
of that's a I mean, you could say, I guess you could say it's weird, but at the end of the day, I still feel like it's easy. It's super easy to just not say stuff. It's the same thing with us with the LGBTQ plus community. It's certain words that we used to say all the time as pure jokes, and now we're like, well, that's disrespectful. Don't say it. And they say it all the time in their music, and they say it in
I
their
still
stuff.
say whatever I want.
But I technically don't. I don't say the F word as much. I mean, honestly, anymore at all. After I found out that that was disrespectful to them, I was like, well, I'm cool. I was like, that's not the word to use. That's not politically correct.
What the
Cool.
hell?
It didn't. It wasn't hard for me to. It wasn't hard for me not to say the N word. Is not hard to not say. It's not hard to say as a black person to avoid. We do it all the time in corporate America, and we do it all the time for interviews or just having conversations with people outside of what we do. And then when we ask other people to be like, hey, that's kind of can you respect our wishes not to say that as that thing, because it's simple. It's simple. Like we say it, it's cool. It's whatever. Y'all say it. It has a little bit more connotation. Some black people don't care. Some black people do. And then that's just the understanding in America. That's America. That has been built up for years. That's the situation. That's the culture that got forced upon us. And when we chose to sit here and be like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna use it like this, and then it became popularized because for some reason, you know, black people are the most popular thing, and and we create the wave for stuff. Then people want to be like, well, since y'all are popular now, y'all use that word, we gotta do this. No, y'all decided to latch on to the culture. Y'all decided to pry on to the culture, and then when you can't be a part fully of the culture that we had to build upon ourselves, you want to be upset about it. Can we have something for just a second? Can we have something for just a second? Some people don't care. I'm like, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and create that big of a fuss because I am a realist. If you say the N word and we're out in public, I don't know how to explain that to the officers. If I bust you in your mouth, I'm going to jail.
Yeah, she should go to jail.
I was like, I'll be
Like,
going to jail, and like even though
yeah,
regardless of how I feel about the situation, so I'm a realist. But at the end of the day, I cannot help you if somebody busts you in your mouth and get away with it. I will still feel like they would be in the right
yeah,
because I'll be
and
like, you know better. You live in America, you should know better,
I
unless you're a foreigner.
I think that the other thing for me too is like regardless of what anybody like says, I think it's really weird and like stupid to assault somebody based off of the words that they say. Like if they touch you, completely free reign, knock them out. But like if you hear them say a word, 'cause it's no different than like if somebody calls you like a bitch and then like you knock them out.
I
I think
mean, what
that's
if?
still
But
stupid.
it's the same thing if somebody calls your girl a bitch right in front of you, and then you choose to be
And
and you be like, you know what? That's just a word. But then some people could be like, that's just a word, and then you can look at it from a I don't want to start anything right now type of standpoint, which you would be in your right. And then some people would be like, that would just want to sit right with my soul.
I mean, again, like I stay logically consistent. It's still stupid.
So if
Like
somebody did, so how would you react in that
yes,
situation?
if somebody says words, I don't care. If you put your hands on somebody, then it's a completely different story.
No,
That's what I would do.
I'm talking about in the situation if you were out with your lady and then somebody was
It's the
disrespecting your
same
lady.
thing.
So
Yeah,
okay,
it's the same thing. I'm gonna leave. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like you can
okay,
talk shit all you want to. Like I'm like the thing is, right, I try very hard not to be a hypocrite. So like that's the reason that I don't care if people say certain things, right? Because if I say it, then I'm not going to tell you not to say it because then that would make me a hypocrite. So I try very hard not to be a hypocrite. Even though like sometimes I am, right? I admit it. Like I am
yeah.
a hypocrite
That's
sometimes.
why I asked you.
But
That's why I
like
asked you the heavy hitter question of being like, okay, cool. If that was the case with that, would you still?
yeah, I
But
would
yeah,
still just
that's why I
like
was like,
let you
okay. I
live.
mean, if you staying consistent, you staying consistent. That's how you feel.
Like
Yeah.
I stay consistent in that regard. So like I think it's because I think it's very weak of a person to be upset over words that people say and then like assault them. I think that's like very Neanderthal type shit. So like quit being an emotional bitch. Like and the other thing like if you really want to
Where
fight
is the
that
safe?
person,
Yeah.
the safe's in the back. I just don't know the code.
Oh.
We passed we passed the safe when we came in. Like the safe is like literally right here. I just don't know the code to the safe.
Oh wait, let me
Um,
see. Maybe is you got to find it somewhere?
oh, never mind. You don't need a code to the safe. You just need to press the
Uh,
button. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, never mind. Damn. But
this guy.
but but anywho, yeah. Like I think that like you can come out by the way. Words
Yeah.
that people say are just like simply that. Like it's words that motherfuckers say. And like if you truly want to be on that, like I want to assault this person because they said something, then make them upset so they hit you, or make them upset so they not even hit you, but like get ready to assault you, and then you
Hmm.
just knock them out. Like there are different ways that you can go about it, even if you're angry. But like I'm not going to start an interaction with a person, like a violent interaction with a person, just because oh you said something and it hurt my feelings. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
like
could you
I'm
can
not
look at it.
emotional like that.
We can look at it as like, okay, yeah, cool. Me, I wouldn't necessarily go all the way of saying Neanderthals. I would disagree on that part because I guess it would say everybody's emotional intelligence is on different levels, and some people are able to, even though you may not be able to, like, some people may be able to feel things in a higher level in on different ways. If that makes sense, kind of like you're able to tap in more on a logical standpoint, but from a different standpoint, they may be feeling it from there. They're not as tapped in from a logical side as you are. Everybody has their, I guess everybody has levels to it. Is levels to it to be like, okay, you could care less about this, but this is something that somebody else is like, my threshold for this is a little less.
Yeah, only babies and children can't control themselves enough to not hit somebody
I'm not even talking
when they
about
get
just.
upset.
I guess I'm just not even talking about just. Well, yeah, I guess it would be hidden because you would have to any situation. Cause you have to be in the extreme situation and want to feel like you have to hit somebody. Like
Yeah,
if
that's what I'm saying. Like, because like that's what I'm saying. Like my whole thing is like the reason that I said it's like Neanderthalish is because like it's so stupid to me. And it has nothing to do with logic or anything like that. It's simply
mm,
like I'm just not emotional like that. Like I understand that like you can be emotional about something, but to hear somebody say one word, and it doesn't even have to be like a big word, right? The people crash out over people calling them a coward. So like it doesn't have to be a big word. The word doesn't have to technically the word
the thought
itself
of that
doesn't
is just
have
hilarious.
Though that's what I'm saying. Like words themselves do not hold power, right? Your emotional mental state is what holds the power over over the word. You and how you react to people, like how we were talking about with bro, with him reaction to like rejection, and
Yeah,
he was being very like aggressive with them.
yeah.
It's because like the things that they were saying were not warranted his reaction. He's a super emotional person. Now, somebody who is even more emotional than him might assault them physically and not verbally. And so that's the difference, right? You
Now,
become
how do you
like,
feel
oh,
about how do you feel about playing the smart game though? About how like since like okay cool you don't want to okay cool you decide to do something that I felt like may have been racist or prejudiced towards me or my kind, and you know what, I'm not gonna hit you physically, I'm gonna hit you financially, I'm gonna hit you I'm gonna hit you judiciously from a situation like that. Like so what they did
you mean
towards
like
girl, like how they
if they had
even though
sued
you were
her?
like you got upset with them doxing her, but the company had every right to keep her if they wanted to. They gave in on that, so it does have to go into the
No, no, no.
company.
Them doxing like there's a kind of a difference with like doxing. Like finding out where somebody works is like it is what it is because like it can happen, but like finding out where somebody lives is like an extra step, right? So like you can be like what she did, like she can be fired over that.
Oh,
I
wait a
don't
minute. I
risk
mean,
necessarily.
not the doxing of her actual address. I meant her firing because we talked about that earlier and
Well,
we
yeah,
said how
like
that was
you being,
wrong.
yeah, I
Well,
mean
you
like
said that was wrong, and I was like, and I was on the opposite end.
well, the way that I feel about her being fired is the same way that I feel about bro being fired. Is like both I feel are wrong, but both you should understand that like your employer, based off of the way that you act online, have the right to separate themselves from you based off of your actions online, and so you should understand that. Even though I don't think that either person should have been fired for what they said online, you have to still be understanding of the fact that like your employer will be like, I'm going to separate myself from you based off of like your presence online.
hmm I guess
But
when
then,
you were saying that, like, yeah, I do you what you consider them on the same level, but you consider them on different levels. Because I would consider them on different on like yeah, both of them had the situation of potentially getting fired. His I was a little bit more against of being like, even though I think he was a weirdo and had a lot of situations stuff stacked against him. Nothing that he said in that situation I would think would deem him to be. He didn't even I don't even remember dude cussing. So I was like, for him to not even say a curse word out of his mouth and him get and still get fired was a little crazy. But oh girl, somebody calling your job because you said a term that could be looked at as racist. That's
I
a whole
mean,
another level.
at the base level, I mean, both of them would be words that people would find disrespectful on both sides. So like, they're basically the same. Like it's just because I mean, like in both scenarios, both were just saying words. She was talking about people in her friend group, um, who we don't even based off of the way she was talking, I don't think any of them were black. I think that's just the way that she speaks. So like I don't think she was talking about black people at all.
Hmm.
Um and
Oh, definitely
obviously
not. Didn't even give
as
off
black
that
people,
reaction.
but people think that she was, which is why they would call her racist, right? Cuz like when you it's very weird because like as black people we know that we call people that aren't black the n word, we know this,
Hmm.
but but even when but if like like if a white person says it to another white person, which does happen, apparently now they're racist, which doesn't make sense because I can understand if you want to say they're racist because they say it to a black person, and depending on the context you might be correct, but if they're not talking to a white person and that's just the way that they're speaking, and it's the same context that we use it for other races, then it's just simply that. And I don't think that it's racist. You can
Yeah.
say that it's wrong, right? I don't care about that part. But if you want to say that it's wrong to say or whatever, cool, I guess. You can have that feeling. But that's why I think that both were relatively the same with how it was done, because it was just like saying shit online about whatever, and then people getting upset because they found what they said to be disrespectful, and that's all. And so I don't think either person should be fired. but at the same time, like I said, like I understand both being fired.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to, well, for me, I'm wrapped in the realm. I think I'm more wrapped in the realm of
Am I going the right way?
situational, I guess, situational awareness when it comes to it. Living in the country we live in, I don't apply. I apply the logic that makes sense for this scenario and why it would come down from a social, like well, I was trying to think, like a socialism outlook on it. From like why do people react the way they do? What's making them tick, and how is it making them tick, and why does this make sense? And look,
I don't
and
think
then
socialism was the word you were looking for because like that would mean that like it would be fine for her to say
not socialism, but it's a different word.
Societally, right?
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to be like
Okay.
societally? Okay.
Something like it's the study of people, but I forgot the specific sociology.
Yeah, okay,
Sociology.
I
That's
got
what I
you.
meant. It's from looking at it from a sociological
Yeah.
standpoint. From studying people, thinking about it like that, and thinking about the American people and how what we're wrapped up in, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, and the conversation with America a lot all the time is a lot of stuff that we care about is dumb until people come over here and live the life that we live. And specifically, I always hear from like, and not moving the totem pole, just to come right back to the point. When the Caribbean conversation about how the African diaspora, well, you know how they always say that outside black people don't fuck with American black people
Yeah.
like
Like they
that.
don't like Africans don't consider themselves like black and stuff.
Yes, and a lot of stuff that we sit here and complain about, they look at as minute because they're like, the fuck you got complaints about? For when you live here, you do this stuff, and then when they actually, then I've seen videos of people who've lived here for a little bit who are on that side, and they see those things. That's the view that I'm kind of like bringing men to. Is like when I see these things personally, I'm like, okay, I could care less about some of this stuff if it doesn't affect me personally. But as a whole, I'm like, I get it. I get why you're upset. It's technically not dumb. I mean, it's technically you would be in your right to feel some type of way about this because of you have the backup for it. Now, does that give you an excuse? The excuse to be prejudiced yourself? No, and that's what I feel like a lot of it goes into when we have these conversations. Is that one? It feels like black people try to give themselves a pass too many times. They give themselves too many passes and a lot of stuff. So then when they do ask for a pass on certain things, it's like you don't even deserve a pass because you already asked for everything else. So you want everything else to be given to you. And then the one thing that we do try to actually course corrected on is too conflicted for us to even come down to a consensus. So I don't like as far as never saying it again. I don't think that'll ever happen. But as far as people being on a
Well,
consensus
I don't think
of
it would ever happen either, but the point is like if it will never happen and we'll never stop saying it, then we should just get over it when other people say it. Because
I don't think that'll
it's
ever
just gonna
happen
be
either
who
until
lives.
like it'll be generations because there's too many people who've been
Well, sure.
around the negative part of it. We
I
got to get a
mean,
couple generations
rarely.
down.
I mean, like rarely, yeah. But like even not even really because like they're more so closer to the R than the A if they're close to it at all. So like it wouldn't even be that word. It wouldn't even be the A that they would be technically close to because more people around them would be saying it that way, and then their negative experiences would be with the R.
Hell, our great grandkids will probably be the ones that'll be dropping the hard R, honestly, because it'll be probably a joke by then. We gonna be
Well,
like
it's technically a
it's
joke now.
well, we use it as a joke now, but it's like you know how as time went on, it became it became more of a joke that more people can start enjoying
Well,
versus
that's
just one side.
uh, but that's the reason that like I don't care, right? That's the reason I don't care about it is because like the whole thing is so diluted now, and it's really because like the reason that apparently we say it is because it takes the power back from white people, which is kind of dumb because that doesn't really We
It
changed.
applied a
It doesn't
generation before
necessarily.
us, but it might
It
not
doesn't
apply to
apply to us
ours.
anymore. It
Yeah.
doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't even apply to the. It technically doesn't really even apply to the generation before us. It would be the generation before them,
All
more
right,
so. But
grandparents.
like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
and even still, it's kind of still weird. But like at the same time, like I can understand it more. So like we really just use it because other people use it and it's popular to use. And then,
Mm.
but then it's cool because nobody ever thinks about that point when we're saying it to each other. But then now all of a sudden a light bulb, and you suddenly remember that's the reason we say it to each other when somebody that's not black says it. And that's where it's hypocritical and weird to me.
It's like all of a sudden this unity comes in. We all become one when we hear the outsider say it. We're like, what is
Yeah.
happening? We all become Voltron and turn into a giant Megazord.
Yeah. So like, what the hell?
What the heck?
Oh.
And that's right
Laughing
before we
again.
died, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't even know how to get over there. But yeah, I mean, like the other thing too, which obviously would not ever happen,
Oh,
but you
Lord.
know, it's fine to say, is I think that like if we stopped giving people attention for saying some certain shit, like things wouldn't get to where it got to, like with her, for example, right?
Yeah,
If
just
everybody
ignore it.
just, if everybody stopped caring and just like ignored it, she would have just been a random white woman on the internet that said the N-word in one of her videos that happened, which mind you, got resurfaced because this happened like a month or so ago when she said it,
Mm.
and like nobody cared until one person brought it up and they said I say the n-word in one of my videos and my video gets taken down, and then she says it a few months ago and it's still up, which I'm not gonna lie, even using that logic is like really dumb because there are numerous black people that say the n-word in their videos and it doesn't get taken down.
I think it's just the
It
people. The
sometimes
people
it's
aren't
just
ready
like,
yet.
well, what?
The people as a whole is just not something that is not something that can be passed off as a full joke. That's why I was like, it's a generation thing. Like we might have to die off before it's something that people are okay. Because you know how you couldn't make jokes about 9/11 for the longest. Well,
And
like
I still do.
and people and that's still a shitty thing. But then at the end of the day, they still talking about what's the name of them.
Um,
9/11 is too close. I'm trying to think of another one. The
oh, like
Revolutionary
the
War or the
Palestine
Civil
shit?
War. Like no, I'm talking
Oh,
about stuff that's passed on, like Titanic, great travesties, or like the Holocaust. Like stuff like we don't even joke about that because it still feels like it's too soon.
the Holocaust?
Yeah, even though people do joke about it.
People joke about that all the time.
But yeah, it's gotten to a point now where people feel a little bit more comfortable with making those type of jokes because time has passed
Honestly,
and people
I'm not gonna
forget.
lie. I'm not gonna lie. Like even that isn't really true anymore either, because like as soon as something happens now, people make fun of it like within the next day, and it becomes like really big, and people just start making fun of it now. Like that's really like how the culture of people has just been going the past few years. Like a travesty or something really bad happens, and then people make fun of it online like the next day or the day after.
And that's a
I
double-edged
really,
sword because some of it be like legit funny, and then sometimes I'll be like, you know, this is a little like
but even that,
if like we had TikTok around the time of 9/11, crazy.
if 9/11 happened tomorrow, there would be endless jokes about it on the internet the same day probably. And the and honestly, I'm gonna tell you this: it's not even a double-edged sword. The only like metric that's different about it is if the person that made the joke is funny or not. Because
It is true.
if
Depends on
it's
how you
funny,
deliver it.
if it's funny, it's funny. Your delivery is what matters. If you're an unfunny person making an unfunny joke, it's not going to be funny. And then all of a sudden, you're going to remember, hey, you shouldn't be talking about that because now all of a sudden it's not funny. Which goes right back to my point about the N-word.
Yeah, if it's like if it's using a certain depends on who's doing it. I do agree with that. How you doing it, the context and stuff like that, and it makes it funny. That's why I was like, it's a time thing because we see it used more in television shows. We see it used more in entertainment and people just getting people to do stuff now. And like hell, we seeing people playing with it because Jackie Chan even said it in Rush Hour, and folks
Love it.
and it was hilarious. And folks were like, and he gave him the pass and everything. But it was like
Yeah,
moments like
just
those
like
that moments like it's
j-
funny. The N word has happened. Is we're gonna have an N word history in the next 50 years. They're gonna have it in the history books of of the generational transitions of how it became a horrible word to a term of endearment to a joke.
yeah. I mean, just like blackface, right? Like blackface is wrong, and everybody understands you probably shouldn't do it. But everybody loved Robert Downey Jr. in Tropical Thunder, and he was doing blackface.
And you know, crazy, in the next 50 years, that's probably not even going to be a funny joke anymore. It's probably not even going to be offensive because people are not even going to care.
It's not offensive now.
Well,
It
I'm
wasn't
talking about,
offensive
no,
when
I'm
it
talking
came
about,
out either.
I know it's not offensive, but you know, people nowadays in 2024 will probably, would, if
I
they,
I'm going to tell you that like they tried to resurface it like I think a few months ago and tried to say that he was racist and wrong. All of those people got all of their videos taken down within a week because everybody banded together and like mass reported their stuff because there were countless videos of black people saying how they were stupid and they should never post this because we rock with Robert Downey Jr. and it was funny. So
you rock
like
around me
every
because he rocks with us.
so like every the majority of people, overwhelming majority of people are 100% fine with what he did in that movie. So like, and then
Yeah.
the thing too, right? It's weird because there are
I just
settings
ran over the
where
head of the
I
pig.
I know I heard it squeal. It felt bad. There are also settings to where it's apparently acceptable for white people to say the N word, and one of
Hmm.
those major settings is acting.
Oh, they be getting
because
off. Hey, what's it
because
call it? The dude from,
with Star Wars,
yes.
when he said, "You get back here, you spirit chucking piece of."
I said, oh my gosh.
Bro, when I tell you, every time I see that scene, I bust out laughing. And
Hey, them boys be
like,
getting empowered when they say it. It's like they, especially
but it's a
who was
running
it?
joke. It's a running joke that like that especially black people use that as a running joke, and they're like, your line was "Get back here, sir."
Oh no, Leonardo DiCaprio, boy, he played the shit out that role.
And Django,
Yes.
bro, when I tell you that I watched Django recently again,
Uh,
boy, did Django win an award?
I believe so.
It's
I hope so.
deserved.
It was a great movie. When did that limo just pop up? It just spawned.
I don't know, bro. Dang.
Ooh.
Oh,
All right.
we just got out like everything was normal.
That's funny. But yeah, in the next 50 years, it'd be funny because I wonder are like our children's children even gonna understand what racism is? Like when we tell them like that white people used to not mess with black people like that, they're gonna look at us crazy. They're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?" My friend Tim is
Well,
right here. Well, at that point, everybody probably be little mixed kids because everybody's crossbreeding.
yeah, I mean, like that's really like the kind of consensus right now is
Yeah.
like because there's so much mixing of people's races and shit. People will probably not be racist anymore. But I mean, like even with that,
They'll
like
find different
the
things. We'll
only
just start. We'll adopt
well,
classism. We'll get
I
it
mean, yeah, I mean,
from India. We'll
like
get the
classes.
caste system.
What?
Well, is that in India or is that in China? The caste system, where it's like basically you're born into your class.
Oh, I think it might be India and like China and shit. I don't know.
But
But
yeah,
like classism, it's more so having to do with like your financials.
no, I said the caste system, not class. I
Caste.
first,
No, no, no,
yeah.
no. I know that. I know that. I was talking about. I don't know for sure for that one, and then I went
Oh,
into the other one.
oh,
Like classism is like always going to be a thing. I feel like.
mm,
So like that's one thing that's gonna separate us, obviously.
Hmm.
But like anybody can like experience that shit. And then like the Dr. Umars of the world, whenever they die out, then I guess like fully racism will like go away too.
When the hotels die out. We just live in such a big world, man. It's just crazy that it's pockets of the world that we don't that are still the same way. It's like they're stuck in time in some areas. Like found out that there were Confederate soldiers. Quick fact of the day: there were Confederate soldiers that left out of the United States after they realized they were losing the war, and they escaped down to Brazil. And there's a place called Americana in Brazil, and they still have the Confederate flag flying around, and they still have little ceremonies, and their English, well, their accent sounds like Southern accents.
Yep.
Well, the older
It's
people.
very funny that that's a thing.
Hmm.
The thing too is like those people don't mess with the other people that have the Confederate flags
Just
in like
ran over a
America.
cat.
I, I don't know why GTA started putting more animals in this game, but it's stressing me out, man. Cause like when you hit an animal, you hear its sound before it dies. So
I
like
definitely
all I
heard
heard
the
was a
squish.
meow. No, you hear the squish, but you also hear a meow.
Oh, I didn't hear the meow. That's
I
even worse.
did. I know, I did.
That's tough.
But yeah, like they don't mess with like the people here that hold like the rebel flag and stuff like that,
Hmm.
because like there most people here, when they have that flag, it's not a racist reason.
Hmm.
It's a pride from where like they come from, but not like a racist reason. So
Hmm.
like, but they want it to be like the racist meaning, and it's not that way primarily anymore. Even though like other people that aren't like in the South, when they look at it, they still see it as like a racist flag or whatever. But like it's not really used as a racist flag anymore.
Yeah, it's used as the flag, and they actually show. I think I saw it on TikTok that there is an actual Confederate flag that was used during that time, and but people choose to use the rebel flag, and they say it's the official flag, but it's not the official flag, and they could be using the other one to symbolize their South, but they use the rebel one, which is
They
the bad
mostly use
representation one.
they mostly, from what I have heard from people, because like I grew up in Mississippi a lot of the times
Yeah.
too. So like some of the people that like I hear that I've spoken to that have the rebel flag, it's mostly they use it the exact same way as people that have like the American flag,
Mhm.
from their relatives that were soldiers.
Mhm.
And so that's the reason that they use that flag in particular, because of their relatives that were soldiers. So they use that. It's not
Mhm.
really like a racist type thing or anything. And
Yeah.
also, it's just like the flag that like most of them like. Because I mean, if we're gonna be honest, like it looks kind of cool. Like,
It's not a bad flag.
like
It's
as
never a
flags
bad
go,
design.
as flags go, they were really like them racist motherfuckers. They were really in their bag when they made that one.
You know, it wasn't that bad because when you see Dukes of Hazard, I didn't even know what that flag was, and I was like, this is a nice design on this truck.
Exactly. And like Dukes of Hazzard, they're not racist.
they're not.
They
They're
mess
not
with
at
black
all.
people. So
Which is
like,
so funny.
yeah, they're just some good old Southern boys. That's what they say, and they just,
And
that's what
that's
we
legit
got.
how they are.
So
I saw a whole dude explaining his tattoo because somebody said is that the Confederate flag on your arm, and like his arm was tatted, like mine was tatted, and he had it blended in quite nicely on his bicep. I was like, I ain't gonna lie, that whole hard, but I was like, yeah, that sucks. I
yeah,
said that truly sucks. I said it sucks for you
I mean, yeah. Can you get
to
on
have
this?
that. Nah, I just tried to.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I mean, like it sucks that like, but it is what it is with like other things. Like, it's like we said with like saying the N word and stuff like that. It's people's perceptions of how they feel about the things that you say or put on your body or whatever. It's not necessarily indicative of like the reality of what it is.
Yeah, because it's like you can have it's pure form of art. I guess it's the same. It's a similar thing to being like that'll suck if somebody gave you like a family member or somebody gave you an old artifact or something and been like, hey, this was passed down the family, and this could have been something that somebody picked up off of Amazon years ago. And it was like, or it was something that they just picked up out of a Chuck E. Cheese. They were just like, hey, I won this, and I'm
No,
giving
I
this to
just
you. And it, what
I
happened?
just thought about it. Some of your relative gives you like an old family heirloom, and they're like, "This has been in our family for generations. Keep it safe." Somebody looks at that, and they're like, Is that the symbol for genocide?"
Bro, facts.
You've been wearing it for pride. You've been wearing it with pride for all these years, and you didn't know, and you're just like, "Huh? No, this is like pride. You're racist.
Bro,
You're a monster."
and that's the crazy part. That's how I be feeling when I be seeing the Confederate flag. I'll be like, damn. I'll be like, bro, you probably have all the heart in the world, but it'd be hilarious if you go back and you're like, well, my grandfather fought for this farm, and you go back in history and see what your grandfather was really like, and this motherfucker was horrible.
I mean, yeah, but it'd be like that.
And it was like, well, it's for my family. I was like, do you? And I think that's the part that be pissing a lot of people off. Is when it's like when you know better, do better. And when you tell somebody the right thing and they've been doing the wrong thing for a while or perceiving something as being the right way, and you say, hey, this is what shows you this, this is what show you this, and they're just like, huh, I'm gonna keep doing,
But
I'm gonna do my own thing.
but that's also the problem too, where we say if it don't apply, let it fly, because if we say, hey, that's racist, and people that have that are racist, and you're like, well, I have it and I'm not racist, so I guess they ain't talking about me. And so, like, they just completely dismiss it because, like, they're not that. So,
Hmm.
it's like we said, like, it's a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, if you learn that something is bad or whatever, maybe
Is
you
it
should,
not
like,
like
not use
deliberate?
it. It's not. I don't know why. It's like if you know something is bad, then you shouldn't do it. But then they're like, well, even if you guys say that it's bad, like it's not bad for me, so I'm not sure why y'all care. Do you see the circle?
Yeah, I see the circle,
Huh. Weird.
but yeah, I get
What
it.
are we
It's like,
looking at
yeah,
at
that's
times?
we are. Damn, wait, 51 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up.
Wrap it up. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if there's a glitch or something trying to back it up. But yeah, you got any final thoughts?
Honestly, just get over it. People are gonna say what they say. Words are simply mostly just that. I mean, if
Mm-hmm,
nobody's
mm-hmm.
putting their hands on you and nobody's touching you, then like get over it.
I will agree to that, brother. Agree to that. What I say, if it don't apply, let it fly. Um, I feel like we might have to start adopting that mindset a little bit more. If it don't apply, let it fly. But then, if other people, if we see monkey do, that doesn't mean you gotta go do it too. Some
Yeah,
people choose to react. That doesn't mean you have to.
yeah.
And
Just
that,
because other people are upset, don't mean you got to be upset either. And it also doesn't mean that you got to act out of character just because you feel as though you need to.
hmm hmm. Well, we'll appreciate y'all coming down for another exciting video with the DWG boys. Down with the get down. If you guys have any suggestions on videos you would like to see, or any more content that's out there, any things out there in the news you really just want us to cover, just shoot it down in the comment section below. Oh, my ride is here. Appreciate y'all for coming down. Go ahead and like, share.
If you're down with a get down, go ahead and subscribe.